Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm great. It's Friday.
I know. You know what? Usually, I'm pretty darn happy doing what I do, and I don't always look forward to the weekend. But I'm actually looking forward to this weekend. I want to get a little more sleep. I'm kind of tired. I made a really bad calculation error one day this week. I had an interview with a guy. This interview is coming up later in the program, not today, but later in the month. I miscalculated the time zones. He's in Australia, and I had to do the interview at 4:30 a.m.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck did I do
Not
that
fun.
for? So I was like, well, I guess I'll be getting up really early. So, yeah, that was dumb. Hey, speaking of guests, we do have a guest today, and this is one that I didn't have to wake up like super early for because we're going to be chatting with Susan Wiggs. We're going to be talking about your family tree. That is on the way later in the program today. Also, there really is a disease called the laughing disease where people literally laugh themselves to death.
Really?
So far, nobody has died from that while listening to
that
this
would
program.
be a good way to die.
It would be a good way. You know, maybe on Tuesdays, during Tuesdays with Charlie, we probably lose 1% of our audience that day. And now you know why. It's from the laughing disease. So there you go. So sorry for the families. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I never thought you'd ask. It's Friday, August the 26th, the day before your birthday, by the way.
It is. It's my birthday tomorrow, and
Heidi
we're going to a
turns.
concert.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Hey, Heidi has a big birthday, and today is a big day as well. It's National Dog Day, so if you're a dog person, today's a day to celebrate. It's also National Toilet Paper Day, so even if you're not a dog day, it's still a good day to celebrate. National Web Mistress Day today. That's not one that I'll be celebrating. It's also Women's Equality Day. What an ironic time frame for that to happen.
You know what? I'm sorry,
on
but
Web Mistress Day. What?
I just think the whole women's equality thing is over.
Why is that?
Why are we still fighting for something that we've already got?
This is the day to celebrate women's equality.
Okay.
Because, hey, we've made it.
And
Yay.
Dog Day. Don't you think that's more the dog days of summer and not people who love dogs day?
I think it's National
Isn't it dog days
Day.
of summer? Like,
Yeah.
isn't August like? So I wonder if that's
You know
what
what
they're
that has to
referring
do
to.
with, by the way?
I don't know.
It has to do with a constellation. I looked it up one time because I thought, why would they call it Dog Days of Summer? And it's because there's like a constellation of a dog that you can see really well. If I remember, it's like 20 years ago I looked it up. So pre-Google, of course. And finally, it's World Daffodil Day today. So
I like daffodils.
have a daffy day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Email marketing is affordable and a proven way to grow your business. If it's done right, you can stay in contact with your customers to let them know when you have new things to offer. You stay in control the whole time, too. You decide when the messages are sent, and you decide what is being said. So you're constantly in control of your business image. You can do this, but don't try it on your own. Team up with one of the biggest names in email marketing, Constant Contact. Sign up for a free trial right now at radiosavings.com. Sign up now at radiosavings.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. There's a new plague to add to the list. Now, if you've been watching the news, you might have seen, I don't know, our country imploding.
Pretty much.
Got, you know, on the southern part of the country, we've got water like crazy. You go out to California, and we've got fires. And I think Washington State, I believe I just saw that there were fires out there as well. And if you head to Wichita, there's corn falling from the sky. What? Yeah. Now, I don't know when this happened. Oh, this was not recently. This was in 2001. So this is, no, but let me explain what happened. I still think this is absolutely crazy. It says, it's an event of biblical proportions. Things falling from the sky that could not be explained. Fortunately, nobody was hurt when corn husks started falling in Wichita, Kansas. This happened in the summer of 2001. According to a report, thousands of like 1 foot long and larger leaves just started falling from the sky like rain across Wichita. Isn't that weird? Meteorologist Chad Petta from back in the day said that in cases of high winds and tornadoes and thunderstorms and other extreme weather, it's not unusual for objects to fall from the sky after getting blown long distances, but there had been no unusual weather leading up to this to explain why this corn would be falling from the sky.
Crazy.
Some thought perhaps maybe an airplane may have somehow been responsible, but there was no evidence to back up the theory of an airplane dumping corn husks either. Which,
I'm
why
sure
would
there
they
was a
do that?
reason. Something
Well, there
happened.
had to be a reason, but here it is. That was 2001. It's 2016 now, 15 years later, and this was one of the stories that's still unexplained. They have no idea why that happened. So that was when I look for the stuff for the heard it on the radio, I always try to find things that are like unbelievable. Isn't that unbelievable, Heidi?
There probably is an explanation, but you're probably reading the exact story from 2001. There's probably been an update or 12 that you missed.
Kids pranked them with the corn husks of 2001. No, nobody knows, and we're going to leave it that way because then I have a good story here. And if you have an update on this, don't tell anybody. You know it's true because that's the story I told you on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. A husband and wife both pulled over for drinking and driving in separate cars.
Oh, that's
Listen
unfortunate.
to this. A husband and
Were
wife.
they out partying together? And
Well, this was in Nevada. They both face drunk driving charges after being stopped at the same time and driving separate cars. Elko County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Murphy says the wife's car almost crashed into him after he pulled over the husband. Mr. Murphy says, "This is the very first his and hers drunk driving case I've ever had, and I've never heard of any other." So police arrested both husband and wife, held them in separate cells in Elko County Jail.
they probably met up after work for some drinks, and then
Yeah.
we're heading home.
Here's the thing. That's not a bad idea to meet up after work and have
Right,
drinks,
but if
one
you
of
both had too much, then
one
you
of
call a
should be-
cab.
well, here's the thing. One of you should be the designated driver.
It would have been way cheaper for them to
Oh.
take a cab.
Think about just the towing bill alone.
Oh
Because
my
they have
gosh.
two vehicles towed.
Yeah.
Just that alone
Their
would be
insurance
expensive.
and the court
Yeah.
fees and,
And
oh my gosh.
They could maybe save money on an attorney. Could you do like a buy one, get one half price? We shouldn't laugh about it because it's not funny. They were drinking and driving. That's a bad idea all the time.
But they got caught and nobody was hurt.
There you
So
go. Coming up in a bit, we've got your moment of duh.
John and Heidi.
Your moment of duh, we head to some classes here in Southwest High School in Miami. Teachers there, 5 of them, a little short on cash. They decided to come up with a creative way to come up with some dough. They typically make about $6,000 in overtime for their classes, so they began offering extra classes in wrestling and track and field and fitness and lifestyle and aerobics. After 2 semesters, school officials noticed that the students were getting mostly A's in the courses, and they stopped by to see what the reason for such this amazing success. And that's when they realized there were never any classes. And there were never any students. In fact, the coaches made up student names. All 5 teachers were arrested and faced 12 counts of
my
felony
gosh.
charges. Yeah, they made up fake classes because they're like, hey, we get an extra $6,000 for overtime if we teach these classes. Let's teach them. I mean, we don't want to actually teach them.
Oh
Let's just say that we're teaching them. So they made up all these fake students' names, and I don't know. I have a really funny comment right now, but I'm not going to use it because I don't want to upset half of our audience. We're going to move on with our scoop of the day. That is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Heidi, listen to this one. We got to get in on these stupid study phones, by the way. I mean, I could have done this study with my eyes closed. According to the Population Council, people tend to marry people who live near them.
I'm so glad they did that study.
So, in other words, most people don't marry some stranger on the other side of the planet.
Wow.
Or just somebody they meet at an airport. They just meet. For some reason, they want to know these people. So.
That's crazy.
Hey, a 93-year-old World War II veteran completed a 3-year run across the United States last week. That was such a cool story. Did you see that?
I did not.
No, it was really
But I
neat.
think that's great.
He's 93, and he ran across the country. It took 3 years to do it. I couldn't run across the county, even if he gave me 3 years. I still couldn't do it. So hats off to you. I think that is really, really cool. Wacky but true, doctors in India were perplexed when a man came in with a tummy ache. Guess what they found in this 42-year-old man's stomach?
Glass.
No. Whole bunch of knives. 40 of them. They gave him an ultrasound and found out that there was a solid mass in his stomach. They thought it was cancerous tumors. After a 5-hour procedure, they were amazed to find 40 folding knives in his stomach, Heidi.
Folding knives,
Yeah,
like Swiss Army knives,
Yeah, like
those kinds of
They're
things.
probably not that, but some sort of little pocket knife kind of thing. The man told the doctors he really liked the taste of the knives. He'd been eating them for about 2 months, and he had no clue why he had a tummy ache. I
Wow.
mean, seriously, you got no idea what's going on in there. Oh, that's crazy. The FBI released a new app. First of all, Heidi, do you get apps? Are you an app person at all?
Not a ton. No, I have a few apps.
I wonder how many people are going to get this. They released a new app making it easier for the public, as well as financial institutions, law enforcement agencies, and others, to view photos and get information about bank robberies in different geographic areas of the country. So you could get this app and scroll through and look at the suspects.
Why would the average person need to see
I
that?
don't know. The FBI's app runs on both Android and iOS, lets users sort bank robberies by the date they occur,
Jeez.
the category they fall under, like serial bank robbers. The FBI field office is working the case. It lets you know if they're working the case, and it also lets you know which state the robbery occurred in. So I think that's really...
Yeah, I won't be getting that app. I have no reason to have that app.
I just wonder what the purpose of that app is, because
I have no idea. Unless, they want help finding the people, and there's photos of the people on there, then
that, yeah,
possibly.
But that's the thing. They would give surveillance video typically. So,
Yeah.
My concern would be, I think if I went and downloaded that app, I think that they would think that I'm the bank robber because, you'd be the only one that knows what's going on there.
or would even care.
Did
honestly.
I get caught? Let's check this
Yeah.
app and see. Well,
How
I
close
just
are they?
did.
Yeah.
Did you know it was me? Okay. Hey, we missed out on this, Heidi. I do have a link on our Facebook page, but today is the final day of the Air Guitar World Championships. Dang it, we missed out on that.
We missed it last year, too.
Next year. Hey, a Chinese woman appeared in court accused of transporting panties and long johns soaked in heroin. The woman claims that tainted underwear had been placed
Gross.
in her luggage after 2 men offered her a job and a plane ticket. Yeah, sure.
What did she think was going to... I mean, if that's true, what did she think was going on there? Did she really think they needed help getting their underpants
Really, can you
into...
get all these britches in my overhead bin?
Yeah.
You want to help me out here?
She deserves what she gets, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. And according to a new study, nearly 6 in 10 adult workers experience significant drowsiness during business hours. Heidi, wake up. 6 in 10. Which reminds me, I'm going to grab some coffee, and then coming up later, we're going to tell you how bad coffee is for you. Seriously, I got another study saying coffee
Now it's
ain't good
bad
for you.
this
Yeah.
week.
Last week it was good, so I don't know. Maybe I'll hold my coffee till next week. All I know is this has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
Whether you're following the election or not, you understand that it impacts you. And this will be a historic election. The mainstream media has their own spin on who's going to win, but PoliticalStorm.com lets you chime in. You can keep yelling at the TV if you want. See how that works out. Or truly voice your opinion and have it heard at PoliticalStorm.com. Be informed from several different sources all in one place. Watch videos, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials to engage your brain. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We got a special guest joining us today. Susan Wiggs is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of more than 50 novels, and she's got a new book out called Family Tree, and we're going to be diving into that one today to find out a little more about it. But first, let's say hello to Susan. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on day 2 of Family Tree. It was just published yesterday.
Oh, very nice. So this is really early, and but people are already liking this book, aren't they?
They are. The early reviews have been very gratifying, and one of the common threads of the reviews that have been is that it's a very emotional book. And so I was thinking about that this morning and why that it could be, and I suppose because of the theme of the book. It's about a family, and, there are many emotions attached to family, and so it's quite a tribute to my feelings for my family, and I hope that readers can sense that as they read it.
So now, what was the idea behind the book Family Tree? Where did the inspiration come for this one?
It came from the main character, her name is Annie Rush, and she has a cooking show. She's a producer of a cooking show, and it's very popular, so she's had a lot of success with that early on. And indeed, she has what appears to be this ideal life. She lives in L.A. She's got this yummy husband who's a chef, and everything seems to be going her way. And as you know, in fiction, when you read, that character where she's, born under a lucky star and everything is going her way, you know that there's just a disaster right around the corner. And so, indeed, that, you turn the page and this very shocking and dramatic thing befalls her. I'm trying not to spoil it, but what ensues is she is forced to go back to her hometown. Switchback, Vermont is the name of my fictional Vermont town, and face the past that she walked away from years before, and it has to do with her family and her old boyfriend and people that she thought she'd left behind, and she has to actually, her journey takes her home instead of away from home, and she rebuilds her life, and I hope a way that people find really dramatic and compelling and very satisfying by the end.
Hopefully we'll see this one on the #1 bestseller list for the New York Times as well, but you've been there many...
To God's ear, I hope so.
Well, you've been there many times. What is that like to see your name on that list and to know that, wow, people really like what I'm writing?
You know what? It's surreal. It's I feel a little detached from it because it's about a book. It usually happens to a book that I've finished and put to bed and a year before, and so I've moved on to another book, and it's sort of like when you turn around and your kid has suddenly done really well in school, and you think, wow, you're awesome, but I had nothing to do with you. Because right now it's in the reader's hands. It's in the hands of the people who ultimately are responsible for a book's success or failure, and that is the reader. And you can't ever fake it. Readers want a book to be good, and if it is, they tell their friends and they chat about it online, and if it's not, definitely doesn't perform at that level. And so it's a little fraught for the writer to be wondering how this book is going to turn out in the marketplace. But I'd love it. I love hearing back from my readers. I love my Facebook and Twitter pages because it's so immediate. I can hear, from readers in that sense. So, yeah, it's kind of a different kind. My day goes a lot differently when there's a new book out. When I'm just in work mode, I'm by myself, I'm writing. When there's a new book out, I get to connect with people and with readers and on the radio, so I'm really loving this.
Again, visiting right now with Susan Wiggs, author of a new book called FamilyTree. Now, there are some authors that only do standalone books, and there are some that only do series of books, but you kind of do both. How do you decide if a book is going to become part of a series or if it's going to be a standalone?
Two ways. Sometimes I dream up a book that is definitely going to be a series, and I'll pitch it to my literary agent and my publisher in that way. I'll say, book 1 will be this character, and they'll go and so I pitch it like that. And another way that a book could become a series is I write what I think is going to be a single title book and be published standalone, but a spin-off occurs to me. So 2 different ways. With FamilyTree, it's still up in the air. There are secondary characters that I'm fascinated by, and I would love to write more about them. But for the moment, it's the one and only. It's not a series. And I've definitely made a choice to do it that way because it's my first book with this particular publisher, with William Morrow Books. And so I wanted to give them a fresh bite at the apple, so to speak. And so I've done that with FamilyTree, and I hope I did a good job.
Well, I'll bet you did, because there's a lot of great reviews already from the people who have had a chance to read it early. Now, you had just mentioned some of the secondary characters. Where do you come up with the ideas for the characters in your books? Because they're such vivid characters, so lifelike. Are some of these people based on people you've met in real life, or do you just kind of dream all of these people up?
I think probably a combination of both. On the one hand, the people in Annie's life in the book could be anybody's family. They're her family. She's got the kind of doofus older brother who's smarter than he looks, and but he's more interested in growing pot than growing maple syrup. Growing a sugar bush for the maple syrup. And she's got the divorced mom in her 50s who's never quite moved on from her divorce. And so I sort of populate the book with types, and then I try to get into these people's skin and make them feel very real and very vivid and human and emotional. And so that's always a challenge for me.
Well, Susan, we really appreciate you taking some time to chat with us. I know you've got a lot of people to talk to today because of this new book. The book is called Family Tree. Where can we find a copy of this, Susan?
I hope you can find it in your local bookstore. I always encourage people to visit their independent bookstore or their local bricks and mortar store, and also any place online. So SusanWiggs.com is my website, and there are links to buy at any of those places, and I hope to see some of your listeners there.
Very nice. Susan, thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
Same to you. Thank you so much.
Again, Susan Wiggs has been our guest today, #1 New York Times bestselling author of over 50 novels, and her new book is out right now. It is called Family Tree. Thank you so much for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that website is RadioLottoPool.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The average American kid eats 15 pounds of cold cereal every year. Yeah, that's a lot
Our
of
house is
cereal.
way below average.
think
We
so?
don't eat much cereal.
Oh. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
What goes better with cereal than a little bit of milk, right? The average cow gives about 100 quarts of milk per week. It's a lot of milk. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Rickets is a deficiency of vitamin D. So if you have rickets, that means you didn't get enough vitamin D. You might need some more milk. Throw some cereal on it, and you got something going there. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The first person to survive going over Niagara Falls in a barrel was a 63-year-old widow. Guess what year this happened?
I have no idea.
1901.
I wonder if she meant to.
That's kind of what I'm wondering. Was that on purpose, or this... Uh-oh. My barrel just fell in the water.
Maybe she was a widow because her husband went first and you didn't make it.
Absolutely. I shouldn't laugh because that's really sad if that's what happened. But she was 63.
Wow.
Anyway, our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A shoveler is an actual duck. There's a duck that's called a shoveler. That's kind of a fun name for a duck.
Okay.
All right. A couple of fun facts for you on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
Email marketing is affordable and a proven way to grow your business. If it's done right, you can stay in contact with your customers to let them know when you have new things to offer. You stay in control the whole time, too. You decide when messages are sent, and you decide what is being said. So you're constantly in control of your business image. You can do this, but don't try it on your own. Team up with one of the biggest names in email marketing, Constant Contact. Sign up for a free trial right now at radiosavings.com. Sign up now at radiosavings.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. We were just talking about this. Ways to deal with a noisy office. Now, here's the noise that we keep hearing. We keep hearing, like, noises that we don't understand what they are.
It sounds like somebody's walking around above us.
Yeah, or like...
But there's nobody above us, which is kind of creepy.
I was like, maybe there's... I thought maybe that somebody closed a car door outside, but I didn't see a car door out there. So I don't know what that noise is.
It always sounds like somebody's, like, in here.
Yeah. Let's get this.
It's a little creepy.
Let's
get this done and get out of here.
One way to get me out of this office. Hey, Career Builder offers these tips to eliminate excess noise at the workplace, even if you don't have a door to close, because there's a lot of people in cubicles these days. So It says white noise. If colleagues' conversations and ringing phones have you reading the same sentence over and over, try purchasing a white noise CD to play on your computer. Next one says, if your company allows it, download a media player onto your computer or bring a small radio and listen to the John and Heidi Show. Well,
That's what it says,
it
huh?
doesn't say that. It says listen to your favorite radio station, which of course is this one. Here we are. Next thing is plants. They're good at absorbing noise. Talk your office manager into letting you get some greenery in the office to take the edge off the hubbub. And they look nice, too. Non-reflective surfaces make noise. It says make some noise of your own and consult a facilities manager about putting up some noise absorption material in your office, like carpets and curtains and dividers and ceiling panels that are acoustic. Next, this is probably the easiest one on the list, and it's the cheapest too. Confront the culprit. If it's just one person who's making a lot of noise, go over and say, hey, can you turn it down a notch? I mean, John, you talk way too much. I just noticed you're glaring at me.
Yeah.
On that one. Like, how do I tell John to shut up?
It's like,
Next is set up a noise-free zone. You or your colleagues could designate a particular conference room that could be used to escape the noise. Another one is noise-canceling products. There's a lot of headphones and things out there for noise-canceling, earplugs and whatnot. Move it or lose it, an ill-placed copy machine that causes too much noise, move it somewhere else. It doesn't have to sit there. And last thing is post a sign. Simple and friendly, quiet signs in hallways and outside conference rooms will remind coworkers to keep it down when they're leaving a meeting or heading down the hallway or grabbing some coffee. So a couple of ideas on how to keep the noise out of the workplace. Meanwhile, I just heard some more noise here. Going to talk about some fun stuff on the way.
John and Heidi.
If you're in business, you need a website. Come on, it's 2016. Do you think this internet thing is not going to catch on? Many business owners that don't have a website think it's just too expensive. Well, now it's not. You can get a website for a few $100s, not thousands of dollars that are charged elsewhere. We can help you set up and design the site and then turn you loose to manage it, or we can help you manage the site for just a tiny bit more. Learn about this special radio offer right now at radiosavings.com. Get an extra $50 off if you sign up this month at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
You know what's coming up here in is it next week? Let me look at my calendar here. No, it's 2 weeks. So it's not quite here. It's 2 weeks away. It's Labor Day. And it's a short week for a lot of people. Wouldn't it be great if we always had short weeks?
That would be super.
Here are 5 reasons why. First of all, because I think it would be cool. That'd be a good reason. Another one, because Heidi thinks it's cool. But it would also mean the bosses would be grumpy one less day of the week. And people could get, just as much work done in 4 days, typically, as they can in 5. Don't tell the boss, or they'll probably add more work. And then finally, all those years of complaining about Mondays, if we got Mondays off, all of a sudden...
Then everybody would complain about Tuesdays.
Tuesdays. Yeah, that's what would happen, too. You know it would. But I know people who work 4 10-hour days instead of 5 8-hour days.
Yeah.
And that's, 4 days, still getting 40 hours in.
Yeah.
But they're just doing it over 4 hours, or 4 days rather than 5.
Right.
And
I'd be okay with that.
I talked to some people who do that love it, and I've talked to people who do that don't like it so much because they're like, well, my friends are all at work, so, I don't feel like I just get, to-do list
that's
stuff.
true.
Like, all I'm ever doing is to-do list stuff at my house.
That's true.
So, honestly, that wouldn't be so bad, because then the days that you do have off, you could go do stuff, so, I don't know. Anyway, a couple of fun things about a short week. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
All right, I'm going to take one last sip of coffee before I can't have coffee anymore, because now they say coffee's bad for you, Heidi.
Today. Would you quit it?
I'm just taking a little...
Yeah.
If you don't think coffee is doing damage to your liver, think again. Jennifer Zatarian.
To your liver?
Yeah, ND. What does ND stand for? Buzzkill?
North Dakota?
Why would it say Jennifer's out of North Dakota? Wellness researcher coordinator at Long Island College Hospital of Brooklyn. That's a long title. Her business cards must fold in half. She explains that, quote, caffeine is broken down by the liver through the use of enzymes. The more these enzymes are involved in breaking down caffeine, the less available they are. I have to take a pause in the middle of her quote even. It's a long quote. The less available they are for breaking down other chemicals in the bloodstream. Excessive caffeine use, therefore, causes the liver to work less effectively at its job of detoxifying the body. End quote. How did I do? Did I sound just like her?
Poor liver.
Says, well, 1 to 2 cups a day seems normal. Anything above that amount could be excessive. Experts recommend replacing those additional cups of coffee with this other thing called water? What?
Water.
What? Who would do that? Okay.
I really only drink, if I even drink 1 full cup a day.
Yeah. They're saying
That's a
one or
lot
two-
for me.
1 or 2 is okay, so I'm still good. That's usually what I drink, 1 or 2. Just
I
bigger.
get one. I get started on one, and then it gets cold, and then I don't want it
I like
anymore,
cold
so I dump
coffee.
it out.
You just, for those of you who drink more than 1 or 2 cups, just get a bigger cup and get it down to 1 or 2.
Then you're drinking cold coffee, and that's disgusting.
All right, coming up, we've got some memorable resume mistakes. Some of these are funny. It's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Whether you're following the election or not, you understand that it impacts you. And this will be a historic election. The mainstream media has their own spin on who's going to win, but PoliticalStorm.com lets you chime in. You can keep yelling at the TV if you want. See how that works out. Or truly voice your opinion and have it heard at PoliticalStorm.com. Be informed from several different sources all in one place. Watch videos, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials to engage your brain. You have a choice, and now you have a voice too at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com.
John and Heidi.
We talked about cover letters and how important those were to get
Yeah.
things right. Well, now I've got another thing. This is also from Career Builder, by the way. Memorable resume mistakes. How does a potential employer really take the time to, look at your resume and decide if you're the right person for the job? How long do they spend? You might be surprised. It's very few minutes. But if you've got a memorable resume mistake, you're probably not going to get the job. So, Career Builder asked 2,500 employers to list their most memorable resume mistakes, and here are some of the ones. The top 4, it looks like. Somebody put God as a personal reference. They did
Yeah.
not put a phone number, by the way. So there you go.
Yeah, that's stretching it.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a good relationship with God. That's cool, but I don't think that's where you put that on the resume.
Well, no, it's not like your boss can reach out to that person for a verification. That's the whole point of a personal reference.
This is another of the 2,500 memorable resume mistakes.
But I guess if you're going to put something like that, it's better than putting Satan.
There you go. Yeah, that's true. Very true. Sending a 24-page resume.
Holy cow.
24-page resume.
That can't be good to have that many different jobs.
I don't know. Another one is make sure you have a professional email address when you're using an email
Yeah.
to contact. Somebody
That's
has
one for you.
It says their email address included the words loves beer right in the email address.
Wow. And what is yours?
I'm not going to say it on the
Yeah.
radio. That's my Gmail account. That's where
Not
all my junk mail
appropriate.
goes. No, it's not inappropriate.
Not appropriate for a resume.
No, I wouldn't put it on a resume. But I don't want to have to ever use a resume ever again. Anyway. Next one is listing Master of Time and Universe under experience.
Wow.
I'm a master of time and the universe. Says nearly 5 job seekers available for every job out there. You want to make sure that you sharpen your, what is it called when you're interviewing with people? Interview skills. There
Interview
you go.
skills.
I'm paraphrasing because I don't have time to read all this now. Sharpen your interview skills. Make sure your resume has no junk on there that you don't need.
Make sure it's flawless and that you stand
Yeah.
out so you can get the job.
Exactly. And if you really want to get a job, you'll be able to find one that way. But just make sure that you're not hurting yourself by having a silly mistake on your resume. Make sure your name is spelled correctly. If you can't get that part right, you're not going to do well. Coming up, we do have some good news, and it's a cool story. It's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I think I've got some good news today, Heidi.
Okay.
An 8-year-old boy ties his mother's umbilical cord with a shoelace after he helped her deliver his little baby brother or sister. Let's see if it says in here. First of all, would you do that?
No.
I don't know if I could do that. Tommy Davidson, again, he's 8, from Detroit, called an ambulance and made sure his new sister didn't fall off the bed. So it's a little girl. The baby came quicker than Mama anticipated. She had sent her husband out to a relative, out with her. What? She had sent her husband out to a relative when the baby arrived. What does that mean? To a relative?
Oh.
Maybe to go see a relative? I don't know. Tommy said, my mom said when the baby's head comes out, don't let her fall on the floor. Then she said, put her on her stomach and put a towel on her to keep her warm, but I was scared. She had stuff all over her.
Oh,
And then he
poor
pulled his
kid.
shoelace out and tied off the umbilical cord. So this little kid, 8 years old. It's like Doogie Howser
Yeah,
for real.
I there's just no way.
Little doctor in the making right there. That's really cool. I don't think I could do that either.
I'd be like, see you, Mom. Call me when all this is taken care of.
Good luck to you. You might want to do something about that baby coming out
Oh,
right
that's just
there. Yeah,
nasty.
hey, I don't know. That would be really a toughie because, I would want to help. I would want to do what I could to help. But I don't know if you, even not my mom, but I'm saying my wife even. I just don't know if I could do that. That'd be tough.
Yeah. Best
So-
birth control in the world for that little guy, though.
Little kid. It's like, I am never, ever having kids. Never. I mean, they have yucky stuff all over him. He's 8, so he's got some time to forget about this before he gets
I
to
don't
that
think
age.
he'll ever forget about this. How could you? He's
I
going to
know.
need therapy.
There you go. That happened to Detroit. Tommy Davidson, 8 years young. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.